Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Diary of Atomic Love. I am Anna, and today we're talking about abandonment wounds from Psalm 27:10. Though my father and mother forsake me, the Lord will receive me. Today we are going to discuss abandonment. Abandonment comes in many types, but no matter how it happens, it leaves a nasty wound that cuts deep into your spirit. There are many forms of abandonment: emotional neglect, physical absence, relationship loss, societal exclusion, spiritual loneliness, and significant traumatizing loss that has profound effects on our mental health, our future relationships, our physical health, our insecurity, and they leave us with lasting effects. Humans, we are frail, and divine intervention is literally our saving grace. Now, I've spoken about abandonment in the past, but in the context of awakening, it means something more than what I've spoken about here before. So I feel it's necessary to revisit it because it's only through healing and faith that this can truly be resolved. And the Bible provides many examples of abandonment and the pain associated with it. The story of Joseph, who was sold by his brothers into slavery, Moses being placed in the basket and sent down the river, Job's accusing friends, Peter, who denied Christ 3 times, of course, and Jesus' crucifixion are just a few. And each of these stories is one of suffering, isolation, and redemption only found in God. Now, as you heard me speak in the past, you might recall that abandonment has been something that I have suffered in my own life. In fact, right from the time that I was a child. As a child, I had to grow up way faster than most, and I had to carry heavy responsibilities. And because I was different, I was bullied in school pretty severely. And as a young teenage woman, I was acting in ways that many adult parents would act, and at 17, suffered when I was sexually assaulted, and it was covered up to cover the family secret. Now, I left home at 17 years old, and by the time I was 18, all I wanted to do was to escape. But because I didn't realize that I was carrying abandonment wounds, I went out into the world unprepared as a young woman. And even if I intellectually understood what had occurred in my life, my body held on to the pain, and my brain was continually in fight mode. And the fact that my nervous system remembered the feeling of separation and abandonment caused me to ache in fear that I would be left again. And I went on in my adult life to experience even more abandonment. Failed relationships, fear of intimacy, dependency, low self-esteem, no self-worth, trust issues, and unhealthy relationships were regular occurrences in my life. Not only from others, but also toward myself, by myself. And I just could never feel secure enough. I continually tried to prove my worth by working excessively hard in very long hours. And I most often had 2 or 3 jobs and became what I would say is hypervigilant. I shut down when I found conflict, and I became fightful, trying to prove my point. I exhausted myself, and I told myself I was too sensitive and I should just get over it when others treated me adversely. And that created somewhat of a numbness, I would say, to keep me from feeling the pain of yet another form of abandonment. And I did anything that I could to anticipate my next loss. I had 2 failed marriages, one from physical and emotional abuse, and one from the feeling of loneliness. And it took me years to figure out that I had unhealthy coping mechanisms. I self-medicated by pretending it didn't matter, which is simply just an unfulfilling coping mechanism. I developed bad eating habits, and I took up running to manage the weight. And the truth is that for years I abandoned myself, trying to create temporary relief, carried on in my life like it just didn't matter. And on the inside and outside, nobody really knew what was going on. On the inside, though, I was a big mess. I suffered from chronic pain. I couldn't find meaning. And even at one time, I began to abandon my faith. And I recall praying and asking God why, because I just couldn't understand. I was loving, caring, kind, and everyone looked to me to carry on and hold down the fort. I cared for my children, thinking I was doing it all right, being a good mom. And I didn't even realize that they could see it, and that I was simply doing a better job of giving my kids my pain than others had done to me. And I looked fine on the outside, but inside I was a toxic waste dump of years of trauma, and some of it was even self-inflicted. I had become overwhelmed, rebellious, perfectionist, who dreamed of being better, but I was even afraid to do that. And then something changed it. One day I woke up, not just physically, but spiritually. It didn't all happen at one time. It happened over almost 10 years. God brought me to realize I was more. He stopped me from building the walls around my heart, and I realized that I wasn't weak, failing, or alone. I just had carried the weight of my wounds in silence for far too long. And the transformation, it took a long time in hindsight. I had the largest revelation and eye-opening around a year ago. And that brought me here to this place where you see me today, where I am teaching others how to choose to be awake and choose self-love. And if you are on this journey, you've landed in the right place because we are all doing this together. Nobody is behind. This is for everyone. And it doesn't matter where you are in your healing right now. I am taking the lead. You see, I'm teaching you through my experience how to move ahead and do what I have done. And I'm teaching you how to stay for you. And if you identify with any of these things that I've said, well, then you recognize that there's a pattern. And if you recognize it, there's good news, my friends, you can overcome it. Here's what healing looks like. You will learn how to regulate your nervous system using spirituality. You will learn to stop abandoning yourself. You'll figure out who to give of yourself, who to give grace, and who to give mercy. You will learn how to bypass the wounds, not ignore them. You'll feel safe because here abandonment is just a story, like the one that I shared with you about myself. And you are worthy of finding connection, gentleness, unconditional love, and a feeling of safety, even if you are still struggling. And I'm here to tell you that you are enough. You are not too much or too little, and you're not too late to heal. You are loved, and you are definitely not alone. And if you have found me, well, I promise you there's no accident in that. God doesn't do anything by accident. His hand touches everything. And my journey, my calling, and my mission are to teach others and support them as they find peace in Christ like I have. I can't promise it's going to be easy. Honestly, I can say it might even be very hard. But I am here to help you heal and support your journey. I'm not a counselor, a psychiatrist, or a psychologist. I am a grief coach. And there is no judgment here. There's no homework or long healing sessions. You can choose to do it or not. But whether you're beginning or halfway through, it is up to you. Because it is when we share our pain with each other and we find support toward healing and feeling whole again that you become saved from all this and more by the healing and unconditional love of Christ. I just simply want you to find it too. God's words are filled with promises of renewal, and he promises to be present even in darkness for those that are faithful. And I am here to prove it in faith, because I am living proof that he can do it for anyone. If he did it for me, believe me, he will do it for you too. Join me tomorrow as we discuss the effects of grief. My friends, in a world where you could be anything, choose to be love, because, love is the answer. If this resonated with you, please like and share my post. And thank you for your donations to Mind of My Mission and for helping me to keep my messages alive. I'll see you tomorrow.